What's up, technicians? Welcome to Respect the Technique, where we celebrate the greatest thing in the world, technique, the solution to all our problems and the cause of at least half of them. So last time we peeled carrots and I said I would make some carrot soup, and I did. So this is it. Enjoy. Start making some chicken stock. You could make vegetable stock or whatever you like. If you wanted to do a vegetarian version of this, skimming the scum, very important technique there for all soups and sauces and stocks. Don't have to get in too much to making stock. I'm going to make a whole nother video on that. This one I was going to make a video, but I made a mistake. I let my burner get too hot and the stock got cloudy. When it boils too hot, too high temperature, it gets cloudy. So the soup starts with onions, celery, and garlic. Now that we have a flavorful liquid, and we're going to throw those in a pot, and we're just going to sweat them, which means you're going to saute them at a low temperature to just lightly cook them, get some of the moisture out of them, heat them up, and we're just going to start with a little bit of olive oil and butter in there. Both, you have a more complex flavor. If vegetarian, leave the butter out, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we're gonna put the veggies in here and sweat them until they start to release some of their juices, and we're gonna cook them just till they're a little bit translucent. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to start leaving the audio in instead of just doing a total voiceover. There is an auditory component in the kitchen. You know, things sound different when they're sauteing at different temperatures, for instance. But you can see we're not getting any color on this. Got to season it. Once the vegetables heat through, then you're going to hit them with salt. Heat makes moisture come out of vegetables, and salt makes moisture come out of vegetables. So you want them to get hot whenever you're sauteing before you put the salt in. Because otherwise you can have too much moisture come out at once, and then it's not sauteing any more than you're simmering in the water that's come out of the vegetables. All right, we're just going to chop up our carrots. These are the ones we peeled the other day. Just going to chop them into pieces that are pretty uniform in size so that they cook in a similar amount of time. And put all the carrots I cut in there, or that I peeled. And the same thing, we're just going to sweat the carrots. Same thing, want to heat them up first before we put our salt in, more pepper. And you see what I'm doing is I add salt and pepper in increments as we go along. You build flavor that way, build more complex flavor. So once I get the carrots sweated a little bit, now I'm going to add my stock in. See, it's a little bit cloudy there. It's fine, it tastes the same, and especially since this is going to be a pureed soup, it's not the end of the world. But when I show you guys how to make stock, I want to show it perfect. I don't want to show cloudy stock on my chicken stock video. And I'm going to show a vegetable stock too. Don't forget, I love you veggie heads. I ain't forgetting about you guys. So here we go. We're skimming the scum again. Very important. This is a convection simmer. You see how I move the pot off of the burner? So it's boiling just on one side, and you see it makes all the foam gather on the other side, and it just makes it easier to get so you're not chasing it around the whole pot. Not necessary. It's just a good technique when you're making stock, and it makes it a little easier to skim it out there. So now that it's boiled, I let it boil for 15-20 minutes. You want the carrots to be completely cooked through and completely soft. You want no crunch in there at all. And the way we test that is fork tenderness. The fork should go through it without feeling any resistance. It should basically be able to mash it or break it apart like that. And even this, it was still a little bit of firmness in there, so I cooked it for another few minutes. I think it was about 18 or 20 minutes total cooking time. So yeah, skim periodically. So now that we got the carrots all cooked, we're going to puree the soup. You can use a regular blender. That's fine. Just fill it up about halfway and puree the soup in there. Just a few ladles full at a time. You know, you'll need one container your pot. You'll work it out of the pot, and then you're going to need something else, a big bowl or something to pour it into, and then put it back in the pot. But you see, I'm pushing down. I'm sort of making sure the stick blender is submerged beneath the surface before I really hit it, you know. And you notice I didn't put that much stock in, or there was a little bit of stock, like not covered, because it's easier to puree when it's a thicker mixture. It's easier to get it going and get all the big pieces out of there. You see that's pureeing up nicely, and once you get all the big pieces out, then you can just let it go. And you got to keep it going as you puree. It'll get smoother. Once I get it nice and smooth, now I'm going to add more liquid in because I don't want my soup to be super, super thick. And you're going to see, now you're going to see it's going to get really, really silky. And we're still going to puree it a little bit longer. The action of that blending, like in a blender, it happens right away. The stick blender, you got to do it for a while till it gets as pureed as you want it to be. But you can already see how silky and smooth that liquid is. This is a beautiful thing here. The flavor is amazing. You never realize how much you love the taste of carrots until you make a soup like this. Yeah, see that? Getting nice and silky and glossy and smooth. That's a beautiful thing right there. This is a really simple soup. You could make the exact same soup, the exact same method with butternut squash. And that's like a really nice soup. And again, a really good vegetarian soup if you want to sub out vegetable stock. And, a lot of cooks on TV, they always say, oh, you can just use water instead. And yeah, you can, but you shouldn't. Get a nice flavorful liquid. You could use carrot juice in a carrot soup to at least get more flavor of just water that you just, season up with salt and pepper. The stock makes a difference. Make vegetable stock. And I promise you guys a video on vegetable stock in the future. So you got to taste it. Very, very important. Any great cook knows to taste his soups and sauces, taste his food before it goes out, and then we adjust it for flavor. A little extra salt. I'm going to put some heavy cream in there. You could leave it out for the vegetarian version, or you could put some, like one of these nice coconut milk products, coconut and carrot. It's going to go beautifully together. And you see it just gets even more beautiful and smooth and creamy. Look at that. Look at that. That beautiful, creamy, smooth, silky liquid that you made. You can make that. You watching this, you can definitely make that. You can make a beautiful soup like that, no problem. And that's it. That's a beautiful carrot soup. I would serve that in a fancy restaurant with pride. You put a little drizzle of heavy cream on top and maybe some chopped chives as a garnish. But I'm actually going to do something else here. I'm going to add a little bit more. I want it a little thinner than that. So add a little bit more stock in. Like if I was going to serve it as just the simple carrot soup, I might leave it a little bit thicker. Maybe not even. You don't want to have thick soups. This is in the 80s here. But check it out. So you could make that a regular carrot soup, or you could add some other stuff into it. So I made some other ingredients to add in here, and they're going to culminate in a couple more short videos. Caramelized corn, poblamos. Let's see, I got caramelized corn right here. That's going to be a video. Black beans from a can, you don't need a video on that. Take them out of the can and rinse them off so that you don't get all the starch in there to change the color of your soup. There's some shredded chicken from, a rotisserie chicken from the supermarket. That's where I got the bones for the stock, some of them. This is fire roasted poblano peppers. That's going to be a video. And that's just some plain sliced tomato. And also some sautéed Mexican squash or gray squash. It's very similar to a zucchini. So you can see, beans, corn, squash. Like you could maybe put some cumin and oregano, some spices in here. I'm not putting any spices or herbs in here. other than salt and pepper, because I want the flavor of all these nice vegetables to come out. That corn has a beautiful flavor. The poblanos are, could be considered a spice in here. So you just want to, I'm not going to cook this too long. All those ingredients are pretty much ready to eat. They don't need to be cooked. So I only bring it to a simmer for, 5 minutes tops, just to get the tomatoes a little bit soft and to make all the flavors come together. And that's it. You got a beautiful soup here, people. And you can make that. You watching this, you can do that for sure. Maybe you have your sweetheart over, knock their socks off. Serve yourself up a nice portion there. Yeah, that looks nice. Fantastic color, fantastic flavor. Can't beat that. Unfortunately, I forgot to, or I neglected to turn on the camera when I was doing the avocado garnish, but I'll do another episode about avocados in the future. Thank you very much for watching, my loyal army of technicians. Love you. Take care. See you next time.